Okay, in this one, try to make it fast, but so far we've created an editable menu, but I'm not really that happy about the iframe solution because the iframe menu it's self-contained, which means that you can't really have, unless you open up new windows on top of it, any modals that you open within the iframe are clipped by the edges of the iframe, and it doesn't seem like it will be that easy to have drag and drop divs or windows, and it seems like it won't support more advanced interactions, uh, a search that kind of overlays the screen, etc. For that, it seems like React might be a better solution, especially if there's a large number of entities, because having a large state inside live view is still kind of, I feel, tricky, because then you have to learn Phoenix specific things to kind of append to the document. So an option is maybe learn some React. But I also feel like what we can focus on is building menus within the 3D space, because that'll set us apart from other spaces. In the meantime, I think maybe we can add fog, gravity, and clear color to a space, and let's work on that. So here's our project, and we have the model for the space itself, which is here, create spaces. And we do have default, and this is data, which is text. But maybe what we can do is convert it to the same thing we use for components, which is data is a map. So previously that was for a template. So we'll make this for any kind of data about a space. So we'll make this data is being a map. And let's see, what is the component facet? And we'll do the same kind of treatment that we're doing here with polymorphic embed. So we'll open up the space. Here's space, here's component, and we need to import polymorphic embed. That's polymorphic. And we have the field. So this one we commented out, and instead we'll have this data polymorphic, and the types will be clear color, which will be a color string. And what else can we have? We can have fog, which I'm not actually sure what the value of that is. Let's start with clear color then. On type not found. Okay, so here it's one of these. I think we need another type that is made of more of these things. I think the data should be yeah, actually we don't need to do polymorphic embed because it's only going to contain one kind of thing. Actually, we just want to do embedded type. So let's look at that. Let's look at Phoenix embedded schema. I think that's what we want. Defines an embedded schema. I need an example. Phoenix ecto embedded schema. Use ecto to back Phoenix forms. Embedded Elixir structs in ecto models. Embeds one settings, and then settings uses embedded schema. Okay, so we'll say embeds one. So spaces should have, I guess data is pretty generic. Let's call this settings. And we'll just replace this with settings. And we need to alias the XR spaces settings. Okay, this is an unknown type. So we'll create settings here, settings, and def module. The XR spaces settings, and we want to use this. Use ecto model. Embedded schema is short for primary key. Embedded schema. So field clear color, which is a color string. And what was this? This is itself an embedded schema. Will that work? Do not know. Do not know. Okay, so we have this. Save this. Settings. DXR. Alias. Spaces settings. DXR spaces settings. Oh yes, we don't have a I don't think we have a unknown invalid unknown type. Right. Let's change our this thing from data to settings, which is a map, and default like this, something like that. Let's do mix ecto reset. What's the issue here? The XR spaces settings. Invalid or unknown type. What's going on here now? Says ecto model is not loaded and could not be found. Ecto model. Okay. Okay, what did you do in component or any of these things? Okay, use ecto schema. Let's do that. Okay, let's deal with this. The color string is not a valid type for field clear color. Did you mean to use belongs to, has one, embeds one, or embeds one? Embedded. Okay, I guess it must be embeds one. Embeds one. Okay. And then for here, do we want to say that this is embeds one settings exr dot spaces settings. Okay, seems to be okay with that. Then in the user interface, or before we get to the user interface, what about trying to save a new setting? What do our tests look like? Go to next test. We'll run these in a while. Probably all broken. Test. Spaces test. This spaces, create a space. Okay, I think I commented out all the spaces except for listing a space. Okay, this is all entity stuff. Everything else is commented out. So we can list the space and what it's in the space fixture. Or data, okay, which there's no data, so just take this away. And the 25 failures. Let's test inside test. exr/spaces test. 10 failures. Build default components requires a map. Spaces create entity. Where is this? Space fixtures. Okay, create space. Yes. New change set cast blah 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 and data. I need data in here. Find data. Change. Alright, try this again. 10 failures. Build default components. Requires a map with a type key. This might be failing on something else though. List entities. Alright, we'll come back and fix these. Default components. Where are the components? We'll come back and fix these. Alright. Undefined column settings does not exist. Right. Let's do mix m equal test mix ecto reset. Test. What now? Undefined column settings does not exist in select blah 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 settings. Did I have this typo? Settings? Where's that? Oh god. Settings. Jeez Christ. Settings, no. Clear color. Okay, left became this. ID nil. Why is there an ID in there? This is space. Embeds 1. Can you just say field? No, it won't let field. Defines a field. What's the error here? Embeds 1. Embeds key define. Defines an embedded schema with a given field and either embedded into another schema or for this reason it does not require source signal design for it. Numbers could by default set the primary key type to binary, but such can be figured with the primary key attribute. Primary key false. Cool. So which test is this? Assert list spaces, give you left that. And the right is that. Where's this test? Space fixture. Okay, let's look at the space. Change set, new change set. Can take settings. And we need a change set for that, right? So change set. How do you cast the embed one? Cast. Put change. What happens if you do that? Okay, so you cast embed. Cast embed settings. Takes the change set, the name, and then any options. Alright, set to. Does that expect that it will go to here and look for a change set? To find change set here. Do. And the change the entity and params. What did we get here? If you look at any other component, what's happening here is you do a cast. So we take whatever this entity is, you cast. I guess you cast embed. Change set. Clear color. And what happens here? Undefined function cast embed. So because we need to import ecto change set, and then what happens inside clear color, this change set, spaces, space, change set. Space, new change set is a space. Let me get here. Name can't be blank. Name is hi. How about settings? Settings gives you that. Whoa. No function clause in after change like cast relation. clear color is a string. No? Okay, I think I need to spend more time reading how to use this data structure. Okay, so we know a slug is necessary. Let's just try it in the UI. Listing spaces, new space. Gonna crash. It's gonna crash. Unknown field value in, where is this happening? Ensure fields exist. Where's this unknown field value in settings? In the form. Okay, there's nothing about a value here. And settings. There's nothing about a value here. Oh, there is. Clear color. Cool. Oh, the default is here. And this is in the new form. Persisted. Save it. And what? Insert into spaces. Description, name, settings, slug, inserted at ABC, clear color. Cool. And give it back to me. So we go repo all space and we get clear color. Very good. Let's modify clear color. So go edit, make this red. Save it. Okay, updated the clear color. Cool. Give it back. And it is red. Neat. Neat. Okay, the form component maybe doesn't need to show the settings here. If it is action edit, then we show that. So let's move this into here. So on any new space, we just have this. Don't care about setting any clear color, but if we want to edit it, now you can set all these things. Slug, clear color. Yeah. Switch the order of those. Put the name and description at the top, since those are kind of your constants. Very good. Now we can change the clear color. Upon save, I think we want to broadcast the changes to the space. First of all, when we load the space, can we use this as the clear color? So let's grab the space equal all space. spaces. It's an array of multiple spaces. Oh, okay. So give me the first one. So space equal list first spaces. Now, I wanted to know these. There's a method space dot serialize. Is it spaces dot serialize? Yes, spaces dot serialize space. Gives me the entities, it gives me the slug, but I also want the settings. So give me spaces serialize. Give me also the settings, and give me space settings. So recompile. Okay. There's no JSON encoder, so let's create one. Settings. JSON encoder not implemented. Must always be explicitly implemented if you own the struct. You can derive which fields. It's also not possible to encode all fields. Derive JSON encoder. So derive JSON encoder. And settings, clear color, very cool. With this there, when we're processing the space, go orchestrator. We are, let's say, space channel. We get the whole thing. We get the serialized space. Serialized space. Yes, orchestrator. Given as serialized space. Space channel. Okay, but how do we? When do we process it? We go create the scene. There we go. Create the scene. And create the default environment, create that, parse the initial scene with the entities. Okay, so this entities is set here. Okay, here's the serialized space, which now is going to contain settings as well. So settings is, let's just say it's an any kind of thing for now. This settings equal serialized space settings, and let's say public settings is, well, maybe we'll make a type for this. We'll say that it is a settings, scene settings, scene settings, and this is scene settings. So what is scene settings? Type scene settings is a map with equals expected. So equals clear color string. Okay. So then when we create the scene, create scene, I think we can do this scene dot clear color. What does it take? It takes a Babylon color 4. Equals new Babylon color 4, and red is all numbers are between 0 and 1. Okay, so red RG, so this will be red RGB, and alpha is 1. Huh? What's the deal here? Babbling color 4. Oh, these are just optional arguments. It's not a map. What's here? Cannot find name R. Oh, they're not labeled data. Is there a utility to convert hex to RGB4? Babylon JS convert hex color to color 4. Color 3 from hex string. Okay, Babylon color 4 from hex string. Does that work with a this settings color, clear color? This scene dot clear color equals that. Let's find out. So if this is green, we save this. I can't tell what's what. See, edit. This is green, RGB, and we enter the space. What do we get? Wow! Oh, very green for a second. Then I think clear color, create the default environment, probably overrode that one. What parameters does this take? Defines option, you can configure the environment. Environment helper options. What is this? Create the ground, profiles, ground size, ground texture, ground color, ground opacity, enable ground shadow, a bunch of ground stuff. Ground fall off distance, ground bias, create skybox. Skybox, oh, looks like root position, image processing environment texture, camera exposure, camera contrast, tone map. Okay. And probably is there any clear color? I think it's just I think the skybox might be occluding it. So if we travel, yes, there's our green. And so if we go back and we edit this and we make this clear color red, save that, enter the space, and they come out, we got red. Neato. Alright, some progress here. Let's save it.